My name is Jason, and if you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you I lived in the perfect American dream. My dad, Richard Lawson, was one of the most successful men in the state. He built an empire in real estate worth over $80 million. We lived in a sprawling estate, had luxury cars, and everyone in town knew his name. But behind those tall mansion walls, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. My mum passed away when I was 12. I watched my father crumble, a strong man reduced to shadows of himself. He didn't laugh anymore, didn't sing along to the radio, didn't even look at family dinners the same way. I thought maybe he'd never recover. Then came Victoria. Victoria was dazzling too dazzling. She was 10 years younger than my dad, with piercing green eyes and a smile that could light up a room, or so people said. To me, her smile always seemed too sharp, too rehearsed, like she had practiced it in front of a mirror until it became second nature. My dad fell for her instantly. Within a year, they were married, and just like that, she became my stepmom at first. She pretended to care. She'd ask me about school, buy me clothes, even hug me when dad was watching. But when it was just us, she barely acknowledged me. Her eyes would go cold, and she'd brush past me like I was furniture. I knew she didn't love my dad. She loved his money, and I was right. Over the years, dad seemed different. He was healthy, but Victoria always insisted on handling his medications. She convinced him he needed daily supplements, new diets, treatments he never had before. Slowly, my father became weaker, more tired, more dependent on her. Meanwhile, she grew bolder, hosting charity galas, shopping sprees, trips to Europe, always in the name of representing the Lawson family. But it wasn't about family. It was about her. I was in college when I started noticing money disappearing from accounts, large sums, investments liquidated, properties sold quietly. Every time I asked Dad, he brushed it off. Victoria handles it. She knows what she's doing. That was the first time I truly feared losing everything, not just my father's wealth, but my father himself. 2 years ago, my father passed away suddenly. A heart attack, they said. I didn't believe it for a second. At the funeral, Victoria cried crocodile tears in her black designer dress. She clung to me in front of everyone, whispering, "We have to stay strong, Jason." But behind those tears, I saw something else, satisfaction, and I was right to see it. A week later, we sat in the lawyer's office. My father's will was read, and just as I feared, everything was left to Victoria, the estate, the businesses, the cars, the accounts, all $80 million to me, not a dime. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My dad, the man who had taught me everything, who promised me I'd carry on his legacy, had left me nothing, or so I thought. Victoria leaned back in her chair, smiling like a queen who had won the throne. "I'll take care of you, Jason," she said softly. "You'll always have a place here." I wanted to scream, but I held it in, because something inside me whispered this isn't the end. Weeks turned into months. I was broke, living in the guest house on the estate, while Victoria paraded around like she was royalty. She even threw a charity ball in Dad's honor, wearing diamonds he once gave my mum. But late one night, while wandering through Dad's old study, I found something that changed everything. Behind a bookshelf, taped under the drawer, was a small locked box. Inside were letters, documents, and a hidden will, dated only 6 months before his death. In this will, Dad left everything to me. The estate, the company, all of it. To Victoria, he left a trust fund, just enough for her to live comfortably, but not lavishly. My hands shook. My dad hadn't betrayed me. He knew. He saw through her. But why hadn't this will been filed? That's when I found the letter. It was from Dad, written in his shaky handwriting. "Jason, if you're reading this, then something has gone wrong. I trusted Victoria once, but I no longer do. Protect the family legacy. Don't let her destroy everything I built. This will is the truth. Trust Henry. He knows everything." Henry was Dad's oldest friend and business partner. I went straight to Henry. His face went pale when I showed him the letter. He admitted, Dad had suspected Victoria of foul play. She had been pushing him to sign over assets, rewriting legal documents, isolating him from his business partners. He'd written the second will with Henry's lawyer, but died before it could be filed. "Jason," Henry said gravely, "your father was planning to expose her. He told me she was hiding something dark." That word dark owed in my head. So I started digging. I followed her late-night drives, checked her phone records, even bribed one of the house staff. What I found made my blood run cold. Victoria had a lover, not just anyone, a man connected to Dad's rival business. And together, they were siphoning money from my father's accounts for years. Worse, I found out she had ordered special supplements for my dad from an overseas pharmacy. Supplements that, when tested, contained dangerous substances that could weaken the heart. She hadn't just stolen from him, she had killed him. I gathered everything: documents, receipts, letters, recordings of her phone calls, and I waited for the right moment. That moment came at a family board meeting. Victoria sat at the head of the table, bragging about expanding the company in her name. She had invited investors, journalists, even local politicians. She was ready to crown herself queen. And that's when I stood up. I laid out the hidden will, the letters, the proof of her affair, the pharmacy records. One by one, I put the evidence on the table. The room went silent. Cameras flashed. Investors gasped. Victoria's face drained of color. "This is a lie," she shrieked. But the more she screamed, the more guilty she looked. The board voted unanimously to remove her. The court accepted Dad's second will after Henry's testimony. And just like that, everything shifted. The empire was mine. Victoria. She was left with nothing but her reputation in ruins and a criminal investigation looming over her head. Asterisk. I stood outside that mansion, holding the keys. My father's house. My father's legacy. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Victoria thought she could steal everything. But in the end, her greed, her lies, and her darkest secret destroyed her. And my dad. He had never abandoned me. Even in death, he had trusted me to carry on his empire. Now I live every day remembering his words. Protect the legacy. And that's exactly what I'll do. Asterisk.